Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Jack and Emma podcast, where we help you learn English through simple conversations, everyday topics, and useful speaking practice that you can use in real life. We are very happy that you are here with us today, and we hope you are ready to improve your English speaking skills with us.
Hi everyone, it's Emma here, and today we are going to talk about how to speak English like a native speaker by learning common phrases for everyday conversations. Many English learners know grammar and vocabulary, but they still feel nervous when they speak because they don't know natural phrases that native speakers use in daily life.
Yes, that is very true, because speaking English naturally is not only about grammar, but it is also about learning common expressions, simple phrases, and natural responses that people use in real conversations every day, at work, at school, with friends, and even when meeting new people.
So in this episode, we will practice common English phrases for greetings, small talk, expressing opinions, agreeing, disagreeing, and ending conversations politely. And these phrases will help you sound more natural and more confident when you speak English.
So relax, listen carefully, and, if possible, repeat the sentences after us to practice your pronunciation and speaking skills.
Let's start with greetings, because greetings are usually the first thing we say when we meet someone or start a conversation. Instead of always saying, "Hello, how are you?" you can use different natural expressions.
For example, you can say, "Hi, how's it going?" or "Hey, how are you doing?" These phrases sound very natural and friendly, and native speakers use them all the time in casual conversations.
Another common greeting is "nice to see you" or "it's good to see you again," especially if you already know the person and you are meeting them again after some time.
If you are meeting someone for the first time, you can say, "Nice to meet you," and the other person will usually respond by saying, "Nice to meet you too."
After greeting someone, we usually start small talk, which means we talk about simple and friendly topics like weather, work, daily life, or weekend plans.
Small talk is very important in English conversations because it helps people feel comfortable and relaxed before talking about more serious or important topics.
For example, you can ask simple questions like, "How was your day?" or "What did you do today?" These are very common and easy questions for everyday conversations.
You can also talk about the weather, which is a very common small talk topic. For example, you can say, "The weather is really nice today," or "It's very hot today," or "I think it's going to rain later."
Another small talk question is, "Have you been busy lately?" This is a very natural question, and many people use it when they talk to friends or coworkers.
If you want to talk about the weekend, you can say, "Do you have any plans for the weekend?" or "What did you do last weekend?" These questions are very common in everyday English conversations.
Small talk is not difficult, and you don't need complicated vocabulary. Simple sentences are enough to have a nice conversation.
Now let's talk about how to express your opinions in English, because in conversations, people often talk about what they think, what they like, and what they don't like.
Instead of always saying, "I think," you can use different phrases like, "in my opinion," or "I feel like," or "I believe that." These phrases make your English sound more natural and more interesting.
For example, you can say, "In my opinion, learning English every day is very important," or "I feel like this movie is really interesting and exciting."
You can also say, "I really like this place," or "I don't really like spicy food," or "I love listening to music when I am working or studying."
Another useful phrase is, "I'm not sure, but I think." This is a polite way to give your opinion when you are not completely sure.
Giving opinions is a big part of conversations, so it is very important to practice these phrases.
When you talk to people, sometimes you agree with their opinion, and there are many natural ways to agree in English.
Instead of always saying yes, you can say, "I agree," or "You're right," or "That's true," or I think so too. These are very common phrases in everyday conversations.
For example, if someone says, "Learning English is difficult sometimes," you can respond by saying, "Yes, I agree, but practice makes it easier."
Another natural phrase is exactly, which means you completely agree with what the other person said.
You can also say, "That's a good point," when someone says something interesting or smart.
These phrases make your conversations more natural and more friendly.
Sometimes you don't agree with someone, but it is important to disagree politely so that the conversation stays friendly and respectful.
Instead of saying, "You are wrong," which sounds very rude, you can say, "I'm not sure I agree," or "I see your point, but I think." These phrases sound more polite and more natural.
For example, you can say, "I see your point, but I think learning English takes a long time and a lot of practice."
Another polite phrase is, "That's interesting, but I have a different opinion," which is a very friendly way to disagree with someone.
Learning how to disagree politely is very important in English conversations, especially at work or school.
Now let's talk about how to end a conversation politely, because we don't just walk away without saying anything.
You can say, "It was nice talking to you," or "I have to go now, but it was great talking with you."
Another common phrase is, "Let's talk again soon," which is friendly and polite.
You can also say, "See you later," or "Have a nice day," or "Take care," which are very common ways to end conversations.
Ending a conversation politely leaves a good impression and makes you sound more natural and more confident in English.
So today we talked about how to speak English like a native speaker by using common phrases for everyday conversations, including greetings, small talk, expressing opinions, agreeing, disagreeing, and ending conversations politely.
Remember that speaking English naturally is not about using very difficult words or very complicated grammar, but it is about using simple, natural, and common phrases that people use in daily life.
Try to practice these phrases every day when you speak English, and you can also practice by speaking to yourself, speaking with friends, or repeating after podcasts like this one.
The more you listen and the more you speak, the more confident and fluent you will become, and slowly your English will sound more natural and more like a native speaker.
Learning English is a long journey, but if you practice a little every day, you will see big improvement over time.
Thank you so much for listening to the Jack and Emma podcast, and we hope this episode helps you improve your English speaking skills.
Keep practicing English every day, and we will see you in the next episode.
Goodbye, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Goodbye.